Welcome to Muffin Talk.
Kia ora and welcome to Muffin Talk. This program is brought to you by the initiative Titipounamu, Study and Joy. My guest today is Dr. Melissa Darby. Kia ora, Melissa, and warm welcome. Haere mai to Muffin Talk.
Kia ora, Beata. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Melissa Darby is of Ngāti Ranginui descent and is currently the New Zealand Race Relations Commissioner. She has been a senior lecturer at the University of Waikato, teaching early literacy and human development with a specialist interest in Māori education. Melissa, recently the Human Rights Commission published the 4th edition of the Statement on Religious Diversity in Aotearoa, New Zealand. What is the origin of this project?
Sure. So this is actually the 4th edition, Beata, of the Statement on Religious Diversity. 3 previous editions were launched over a period of about 20 years. So the last one in 2019, I thought it was timely to give the 4th version a refresh in terms of demographics, current context, to hear from communities. And it gave me an opportunity to highlight all of the positive work that goes on in different faith and interfaith organizations, and to tell some good news stories.
Oh, that sounds great. And tell me, in which way did you said you connected with people, in which way did you consult with community and also with faith communities?
So different faith and interfaith groups around the country were sent the 3rd edition of the statement, and we asked for their feedback on, look, what do you think this statement still sort of current in terms of the content of that version? What would you like to see change? How do you think this could expand? Does it speak to you in terms of your community experiences and aspirations? A range of questions were asked. I then met with I think I counted 35 different groups within about 3 weeks, so very quick. And I'll come to why in a moment. Consultation with different communities, just to really hear from them on their thoughts on the statement and how it might be more impactful this time around for communities, and also to hear generally about their different experiences beyond the statement. The reason it was such a quick turnaround time, particularly compared with previous editions, is because the current context and the recent attacks on religious diversity, were leaving communities feeling really worried about their safety, about their right to practice their religion free from discrimination and harassment. And I wanted to respond to that in the moment. And unfortunately, I didn't have the luxury of 18 months or something to consult with communities. But in saying that, I want to make it really clear to listeners, and please share this message far and wide, that the statement is a living document. So communities or faith organizations or whatever who perhaps understandably were unable to meet the sort of tighter timeframes are more than welcome to endorse it after the fact. That's a really important message for me to get out there.
And that's quite challenging. You said you did it very quickly. You had several groups, but how did you choose the groups?
We engaged as much as possible across a range of different peak bodies, interfaith councils, through existing networks that we have within the Human Rights Commission. So really relying on the relationships that we have currently. Of course, we inadvertently, I'm sure, miss some people out. That's never our intention. And so that's why I want to make it really clear that people who perhaps missed out on as a result of the timing or were unable to meet because they were busy, understandably, with other things, are more than welcome to endorse it after the fact, and subsequent print runs of the hard copy will include their name.
So how are you going to promote the statement to make sure that as many people as possible can read it, because otherwise they can't give feedback if they haven't read it?
Very much so, yes. So I rely on word of mouth. So thank you so much for having me on here today to be able to share these messages. I do really, really appreciate the vast number of community organisations, faith groups, interfaith councils and so on who have already shared the statement through their own respective networks. the Human Rights Commission is certainly doing the same thing in that regard. Been really encouraged actually by the media coverage that I've had on this particular statement. It's been a great opportunity to share all of the wonderful contributions that different faith communities make to our country. So hopefully people have heard about it in that way. It's gone into our own newsletters. Yeah, just as much as possible, I really want to get the word out there so that people can not only have the chance to endorse the statement, but also use the statement. I hope it's a tool for communities in terms of advocacy and action beyond the statement.
I like the idea that you said it's a living document. And I think maybe we should start today to prepare for the next one. And then we'll have like 4 or 5 years to get the next one
Great
done.
idea. Great idea. The fifth version in a couple of years' time.
And if there are any groups that would like to have a hard copy, is it available? Because the soft copy, it's on several websites. But just
Yes.
in case somebody says, "Oh, I'd like to do a workshop. I want to be sitting together with people, having it in front of them in paper form," is that possible?
It is possible. We have printed a number within the commission. I will be honest and say the cost to print more it is quite high, unfortunately, but we can work with different organisations on that. So if people are looking for a hard copy, especially for workshops and the like, please get in touch and we'll see what we can do.
And tell me what are your hopes and your dreams regarding the statement? Because of course you have a goal of spreading it and making sure that it's always up to date. But with this specific edition, you mentioned earlier because of the situation worldwide with tensions, and showing a good example of how we have something positive. We have something
We do.
positive to share.
Mm. We do. Look, generally, beyond the statement and beyond religious and faith communities, there's a sense for many of polarization, whether that's as a result of ethnic tensions or on big issues, and there are a range of those, of course, as well. And I think that the statement is a fantastic example of different groups, whether that's through interfaith councils or whether that's through their own sort of respective peak bodies, who perhaps quite obviously don't agree on everything, but who are prepared to come together to engage with one another, to want for other people what they want for themselves, and to find common ground on this, in this case, on this particular statement. I think that that's a crucial message to send into society at the moment, no matter the topic. And so that's what I'm trying to do to the best of my ability. I can't do it alone. So the more people who can share that message, that's greatly appreciated. But I do think that that message is needed now more than ever. I will also point out, though, Beata, that it's not just about polarization and a sense of division for people. I don't want to diminish that, but there are so many good news stories and there is so much fantastic work going on. We've got to share those stories too so that people feel that sense of hope and keep showing up for one another.
Melissa, you mentioned good stories. Can you, after the consultation with the different groups, can you share a couple of good stories?
Oh, there are so many to share. What was really encouraging for me was, how seeing in action how people are connecting when often in the media, for example, on social media, in the general atmosphere, people are pitted as against one another. Every single person who came into my office to speak about this particular piece of work wanted for other people what they want for themselves. Nobody said, look, I want all of these rights for me, but not for those people. I think that's a really important message at the moment. That you'll know better from our previous conversations that I think that interfaith networks across this country are a fantastic example of people from different backgrounds working together for the common good. And there were lots of little stories that came through in that regard, whether it's tree planting together or whether it's hosting dinners together, or whether it's taking time to learn about people's different faiths and beliefs and so on. Those sorts of things create understanding and connection between people that I think is so important. And of course, a lot of the research shows that interacting with people from different backgrounds diminishes that, the assumptions and the sort of negative views that can come into play there and helps us to connect on our shared humanity, which is just so important.
I think it widens our horizons also because once we learn about other religions and other faiths, we also learn more about our own in certain ways.
What came through overwhelmingly was a lot of the commonalities across the different faiths. So while in some people's minds they may be pitted as polar opposite and on particular things or in their aspirations and so on, values like that sort of aspiration to be a better person, to contribute well to communities, to give, to offer acts of service and charitable work, to espouse values like, unity and peace and hope and goodwill to one another. They were so consistent across different faiths, and I think that they're really great messages for our country anyway, and
Mhm.
perhaps particularly at the moment.
The Auckland Interfaith Council just recently hosted an event on Virtues Project, where it was all about virtues and sharing virtues. In a way, it's also about the golden rule,
Yeah.
because you don't want anybody else to do what you don't want to be done to yourself.
Absolutely. And it's kind of a simple rule whenever I repeat it, and I've repeated it often since I took on this role. I don't want it to sound sort of naive, but there's so much value in it. And I think if we all did that and lived as much as we can by the golden rule, what a great place we'd have, even better place we would have to live, because of course it's pretty good already.
And it's definitely a good read. It's not too much, the religious diversity statement. It's compact, it's 20 pages, including the endorsements. So I think that it's easy to read. And I think that it's also a wonderful start for conversations and the appreciation that the Human Rights Commission is thinking of religions. It's not that we are left out, but we are included in the thoughts. And even the Prime Minister has given his time for a forward. That's wonderful.
He did, and I'm very grateful to him for that, showing, I guess, leadership at the top in terms of the kind of country we want to live in, and how people of all different faiths and backgrounds, are welcome here.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for your time. Thank you for
Pleasure.
this project. And I wish you all the best for your future projects and hope to have you on the channel again soon.
Thank you, Beata. That would be lovely. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Aotearoa, peace is calling. In the bonds of love we meet. For the world a new day dawning and shine.